A stock from the IT sector is breaking out from a 6.5 year long consolidation. And this stock also has very good fundamental numbers. And there's another stock from the diagnostic space which was recently listed and it has a 40% OPM operating margin. And these two stocks are looking very good for investing pick or also from a positional trading pick, right? So that's what we're going to discuss today. Hello and welcome to the Trend Invest channel. And in this channel, we discuss technical analysis and how you can use it for investing and trading. And as always, this video is pure an educational video where I intend to teach you how to use technical analysis. So let's get started. Today, first, I want to discuss the small cap index because the index itself has not been doing well for the last couple of weeks. But finally, we had an interesting week this week because we had a strong green candle on the weekly charts. But I have the small cap index chart in front of me. Like I mentioned last week, the index is in a long-term uptrend, right? So we have this beautiful channel, lower support and the resistance over here. Now, remember this middle channel here, it has multiple reversals from here. And that's why I consider this channel as very significant because the upper end channel has just one touch point, but the middle channel has multiple touch points and the lower channel also has multiple touch points. So for me, that makes it a very significant channel. And if we close below this pivot point over here, then the complete scenario, the complete uptrend which has been going on for the last few months is over in small cap index. But until we hold that, I think we are still pretty much good and we might head higher. Okay, so I hope that convinces you to still hold on to your stock holdings with a proper stop loss as always, and probably we see some good rally going forward. Now, moving on, the first stock today is Accelya Solutions. It's a pretty decent company, not a very bad company. It's from the small cap space, and this company is technically looking very strong for the first time in almost 6.5 years. And that's why we're discussing this today. But as always, let's take a look at the fundamentals. So a small cap company which has a PE of 20.7, pretty good ROC and ROE numbers, around 56% and 44%. So for me, that gives me comfort that this stock is probably doing well fundamentally. But then when you look at the sales growth and the PAT growth, it's not that great. But something has been changing in the last year, right? So we had a pretty good 200 crores sales in 2012, kind of it rose and then it started stagnating, right? So we started stagnating around 2020 levels and has been going sideways. But again in 2023, we've had a pretty good growth compared to June 2022. So for me, it looks like the company is again back on its track, and combining this with the technicals, I think there's a good potential for the stock to perform going forward. Also, the operating margins have been pretty good. They have one of the highest operating margins in the last almost 7-8 years, right? So we had a 43% operating margins in 2014, and after that, the first time we are reaching 40% operating margins. So that's pretty good to look at. And for any company which has improved its operating margins, is always a good bet, right? And always we have to look at the net profit here. Net profit also is at an all-time high. So we hit 100 crores somewhere in 2019, but then again, we are back to 100 crores in 2023. So after 4 years, we are back again, and this company is looking good from a fundamental perspective also right now. So overall, 4% sales growth in the last 3 years and 11% profit growth in the last 3 years. And from a fundamental perspective, for me, this is a pretty decent company. Looking at the technicals, this is a beautiful, beautiful 6.5-year consolidation. Now, this channel for me looks very good because I had 3 touch points over here, and middle is not pretty good, but here we kind of reversed 1, 2, and 3 times. So this also looks like a good primary trend line over here. But for me, keep the channel aside. Just focus on the rectangle here. Rectangle, we had a solid support around this 800, 600, 800 levels. And now we had one of the highest ever monthly closing this month. Remember, we are at the end of the month and September is over. We are in October. So for me, it looks like a solid monthly closing. Volumes have not been great, I agree, because we had an inside bar almost. So, but we had a good closing. So I think if we kind of break out, then the volumes will surge again. But the volumes since that 2021 has been pretty decent, right? So if we compare this volumes to this volumes have been good. Volumes will have to be checked always relative. So relative to the previous many years, I think the volumes have risen definitely, and this looks like an accumulation from my side. So that's from a monthly chart perspective. So I'm going to zoom in and show you what's happening here, right? So on the daily charts, we've had a nice trend line support here. So the price reversed here from this trend line. So this makes it a significant trend line support. And we also had a breakout, right? So this is a significant resistance on the daily charts. and we had a nice breakout with volumes combined, and then kind of retested the zone, and now we are again trying to break out from the zone. So look at the volumes on Friday. The volumes have been very good, and also the volumes have been pretty decent. Now, in spite of the small cap index correcting, the stock has managed to go back above the previous highs. So that's a very positive sign, and that's what I call an excellent relative strength. Relative strength compared to small cap or even Nifty or CNX 500, the relative strength has been pretty good. So that makes this stock a very good buy at current levels, and the stop loss is pretty decent, around 11% stop loss if you keep it around that low, right? So entry at 1630, we're going to keep a stop loss of 11%, which is 1450 or in that zone, which is a pretty decent stop loss for a positional or investing bet. It is 11%, and we look for targets of around 3000, which is somewhere around the middle of that channel, which might come in the next couple of years. Also from positional trading bet, you need to be very careful in case you get 30-40% returns and the stock is making a lower high and lower low on the daily charts. You might have to exit. So overall, that's the target I'm looking at, and this is a very good fundamental bet from the IT space. Remember, the IT space has been outperforming the markets of late, so this might do well. So that's the first stock from the IT space. The second stock today is going to be from the diagnostic space. But before that, in case you have been following me for some time, do share this video with your friends and family, and you can support me by buying me a coffee by clicking on the link here or in the description. The link is available there. So that, having said that, let's move on to the next stock, which is Vijaya Diagnostics Center. Now, this company, I've been following it for quite last few weeks because it has been popping up in my scanner, but this week looks like a very low risk bet. So again, mid cap company around 5,000 crores. The PE is pretty high, but for me the PE makes sense because the company has been growing pretty good compared to all other diagnostic companies. This is one of the good companies, and we have seen a pretty good sales growth here, right? So sales has been growing at 11% CAGR. 22 and 2023 has been kind of stagnant, but overall I think pretty good growth. There has been some competition from a lot of other players. Big players like Reliance has made its entry in the diagnostic space. There was some pricing pressure, but of late, I think all of them have agreed to kind of ramp up the pricing. So it looks like a combined agreement, but I think overall this company has not done bad, right? So it has done pretty good, going from 32% to 44% operating margins, and also the profit growth has been pretty decent as well. So overall, from a fundamental perspective, a pretty solid company with good sales growth and PAT growth and operating margins as well. So moving on to the technicals. So this is the weekly chart I have. So it was listed in 2021, and then the stock has been in a pretty strong downtrend. That's probably because of the strong valuations it had, but I think of late it has kind of made a base, and we have kind of retested that pivot zone over here, and we have been consolidating for the last many weeks, right? So since June, July, the stock has been consolidating, and I think we have completed the consolidation, and the daily charts look pretty good. So remember, this was the this was the resistance I was talking about, the previous chart kind of retested, and this also is a confluence of supports, right? So here, if you see, this is a major trendline support, and we also have this horizontal support zone over here, right? So kind of a confluence of support, not a perfect one, but for me, this week reversal looks very good. And if you kind of can sustain this move up, and if you kind of close above this level over here, then that's a confirmed breakout, and we can head higher. So since the price has reversed from this trendline support, I think we will not head below, and so the stop loss is going to be around that zone over here. So entry at 500 current market price, stop loss of 10%, which is 450, which is around that zone, and we're going to look for targets of 700, which is the listing highs, and it can go much higher as well, but that's a target of 40% for me, and this is the second stock for today. So I hope you like my analysis. These are just two stocks for today, and I will continue to make such videos, and also a lot of educational videos also coming up. Do stay tuned to my channel, and do share this with your family and friends. So I'm going to leave you here. I'll see you in another video. Until then, take care, stay safe, and trade safe. Bye-bye.